Good morning. I assume it's morning. I don't think there's anybody I'm connected with it's on the other side of the world. Well, I guess there is a couple. Sorry. I should think before I speak because I do know that I have some friends down there in Australia. So if you're chiming in, Rudy, welcome, my friend. How are you this morning? So good of you to join and chat. It's always nice to see you on Twitter, but good to see you here this morning too. Rudy, have you always lived in North Carolina, or have you bounced around being in the military and being a veteran? Just curious. Oh man, I'm doing well. I'm living life. You know, Browns won last night. I know that doesn't make you happy, but you know, doing good. Got the grocery shopping done already. I've had coffee this morning, and as I told somebody else, I woke up on this side of the dirt, so it's a great day when that happens. And you know, I have no complaints whatsoever. It's been a while since I've gone live or even done a video, so I just thought I would do it. I don't have anything going on really this morning. It's kind of a light day, so try to get in and chat with a few people or just make some comments. I have some thoughts around the hobby that have recently come up. Some good thoughts too. So it's always nice when things are going that way. I feel like we've made this turn in the hobby, and when I'm referencing the hobby at this point, I'm referencing like the retail side of the hobby. Like I feel like we've made this turn of we all understand. Let's see, military brought you to North Kakalaki in the 90s and moved to Fade in the 2000s and traveled the world. Good for you, man. Good for you. I lived in for 10 years. I lived in Hampton, Virginia, and smack dab in the middle of like all the military bases down there. We had Fort Monroe, Norfolk Naval, Oceana. I couldn't think of it. And there was one other one. I can't think of the other one right now. But yeah, I lived down there for 10 years. And man, I tell you what, hotbed of military. But man, thank you for your service to our country. I know that you sacrificed a lot. So truly appreciative of you and all of our military heroes, men and women. So thank you. But yeah, as I was saying, like I feel like when I'm referencing the hobby right now, it's kind of that retail side of things, right? So, you know, I literally just watched. I think that's what triggered me going live here. I literally just watched that video from like a year ago of all those people bum rushing the Walmart doors. And thank you very much for Rudy. I don't do anything, man. I appreciate the sentiments, but listen, you are a better man than I am to defend our freedom. I never had that in me to do that. So that's why I give all the praise in the world to those folks, veterans and current military members. So thank you. But yeah, I watched that video of those guys, and they're guys. I mean, they're all guys. There were no kids in there. There were no females in there. It was all men bum rushing the Walmart store and ripping everything off the shelf within a matter of seconds. I remember watching that last year, and it was just so disheartening because it started making me question, like, why do I want to be a part of something that this is happening? And you know, I started reading comments that people were making, and like, oh, woe is me, I'm never going to be able to find retail, or I can't find retail. Well, I never was really of the mindset of going out to find retail. I was not that person. I spent one day last year. I purposely planned it out to go card hunting. Like I took the whole day off of work. It was in a lull for us. So I took the whole day off and I hit like every Target and Walmart that I could. And about halfway through the planned trip, I was so bored. I just couldn't I couldn't wrap my head around why people do this, for a living. Um, Now, granted, I admit, like if I go to Walmart, it was idiocracy. Yeah, agreed, idiocracy for sure. But I admit, like when I go to Walmart, I go to Target, I stop by the card aisle, but it's only when I go by myself. Like if my son is with me or my wife is with me, I don't because it's not their hobby, it's my hobby. So I'm not going to drag them into something that they don't have an interest in right now. But like I watched that video and it's just it triggered that negative thought. But then I started thinking like we have made this kind of curve like to the positive side of things. And I admit, over the last month, my Walmart and my Target, they've been pretty stocked. And yeah, it might not be with stuff that people want. That's okay. Um, but it shows that we were patient, we waited, and the card companies and the stores recognized that and they said, "Hey, let's start putting cards back on the shelf. We're going to organize it a little bit better, put limits on it. And if you're not okay with it, then you're not okay with it. We don't care. Um, we understand the market right now, and people are going to buy these things. So, my Target, the limit's 5 items per. My Walmart actually doesn't have any limits, but it's funny. I've picked up. I've always done my grocery shopping for the week on Friday mornings. Just it fits better into my schedule. And over the last month, I've picked up that the restock is on Friday mornings at Walmart. So kind of is good, kind of is bad, depending on how you want to look at it. But I've I've noticed that there's a group of 5 guys that stand there and wait for the vendor. I can't remember the name. I guess it's a vendor to finish stocking the shelves. And at first, I was like, "Oh man, look at these guys! They're standing here. What a joke! That's just crazy." But then I noticed that they were talking to one another. They were building a community. They were laughing. I mean, I don't know what they were saying to one another, but to me, it looked like they were actually having a good time. And I kind of stopped and observed it. I'd like to go talk to this group at one point, but I just haven't been able to yet. But I stopped to observe them. And what I noticed is when the vendor was done, they politely walked up, took what they needed or wanted, and checked out. There was no arguing, there was nothing. They really had it organized. And I that made me feel good. That made me feel really good. Um, so I think that this whole positive thing, like we had to go through the negative to get to the positive, and we're here. The other thing that recently happened is, and for those of you that know me, and sorry, my phone's kind of blowing up right now. Um, I don't know what this is. Sorry. Um, but anyway, recently, so if you know that I work for a nonprofit, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, and we do Ripping for the Cure and all that fun stuff. But we had a meeting this week, me and a few of my board members, my volunteer board members, and one of them asked me, they're like, Eric, like we noticed that you raised $40,000 through this thing called Ripping for the Cure. What is it? And I'm like, oh, it's a group of people on Twitter. We buy and sell baseball cards and memorabilia and all this fun stuff. It's kind of cool actually. And he goes, do you collect? And I said, I do. I said I got back into it last year. And he's like, man, he goes, we need to go get coffee or something, or I need to have you come over to my house because I have cards just sitting here that I don't know what to do with. And I know that right now is the time to sell and buy and all that. He goes, but I don't know the first thing about them. And I asked him, I'm like, what do you have? And, he's like, I don't know. He goes, it's old stuff. And so he sent me a picture of one of the cards. And mind you, like, I know you don't know this guy, but I do. he is a sports guy. Like he likes sports. He likes the Pirates. He likes the Steelers and whatnot. And he gets it. But he sends me a picture of a 1952 Mickey Mantle, and he goes, "I have this just sitting here. I don't know what to do with it." And it just completely blew my mind because like that stuff's out there, and it was a whole new level of bonding for him and I outside of what we talk about on a regular basis. That was really kind of nice. So was able to do that. But the final thing I wanted to talk about is I had the opportunity to brag on this community. And I mean, I brag about this community all the time. I tell my wife about you guys. I tell my son about you guys. I tell my friends, I tell my family. I mean, my father-in-law is a big collector as well, always has been with memorabilia, a lot of golf and Steelers stuff. And, he'll come over and say, "All right, what'd you add? Show me what you added." And, I always show him and he's like, "How do you get this stuff?" And I tell him, but, recently I was on a work call and we were talking about diversity and community and building relationships. And I think there was like we got broken out into small groups, so there's like 5 or 6 of us on this Zoom call. And the question was, what is a community? And a lot of times on these work calls I kind of hang back and listen to what other people have to say, because I fully admit I'm not 100% engaged. Sometimes it depends on the topic, but I'm also not 100% sure of what my answer should be. But this one, I was like, "Oh, I got this." I raised my hand. I feel like I'm back in elementary school. I raised my hand and I said, "I have the perfect example of what a community is." I said, "A community is a group of individuals that support one another through thick and thin, that are there when you need them. We have common interests. We can agree and disagree, but at the end of it all, we're still friends. And if we decide that we don't want to be a part of that community, we politely leave and nobody says anything any different." And, and somebody says to me, "Did you look that up in Webster's dictionary?" And I said, "No." I said, "I'm a part of a community like that." And I went into the hobby community and I talked about K Dub. I talked Rudy. I talked about you because you're always out there supporting everybody. I talked about Rip and Gypsy and Buck City Breaks and Midwest Box Breaks. I talked about the Murphys, as a couple. Talked about just a couple of other individuals that I've recently come across, how we just talk to one another. We've created these internal groups around cards, but also around other like topics like fatherhood and just other things that I'm in. And it's really great to see, and that genuinely makes me happy to be a part of this community, this hobby community. Um, and there's no other reason for any of us to be a part of it other than the fact that we get to talk to one another, whether it's like this through video chats and YouTube, or whether it's through Twitter, whether it's through sending gifs or memes. I mean, whatever way we want to chat with one another, we find a way. But I think the coolest part about it is we all know one another and we all understand who we are as a person. This week on Monday, I put a tweet out, and I knew putting it out was going to trigger some people commenting on it. And I really thought about like, how should I word this? And then at the end of the thought process, I was like, I just have to put the tweet out that says, "I absolutely have no motivation today." And that was it. Like, because that's how I was feeling. And I knew that people would start reaching out with like, "Hey, are you all right? Can I help you if you need to talk?" Like, that's the type of people that I like to surround myself with, and that I think all of us like to surround each other with. Because while it came off that way, it actually wasn't. I just truly had no motivation that day. I didn't feel like working. I didn't feel like, you know, doing much of anything other than sitting on the couch and watching TV. Um, but it was good to receive DMs and text messages and comments of, and just people saying, "Hey, we're here for you," and I think we're all like that, and I see it every single day. So I just encourage all of us to continue moving forward in that direction. Um, a couple of just quick updates. I feel like I'm on a work call now. Yikes. Um, Tomorrow, the 23rd, you have to go check out Jimmy Gunn's stream. It is his charity auction for Berger in the Berg, Scott Berger, and his brain tumor society fundraiser. I think he's at like $15,000 raised so far. I mean, the man is killing it. So let's go in there and support him if you can. Even if it's just going into Jimmy's room and giving that thumbs up, or sharing the link, because you seriously never know like who's going to see it and go in there and buy some things and make some donations. So I definitely encourage everybody to go in there. Believe it or not, October 22nd, I am thinking about Ripping for the Cure right now for next year, because it's going to be here before we know it. Hey, good morning, Kaon Gaming. I am Callboy. I don't know what that means. Sorry. But anyway, Ripping for the Cure, it is going to be right around the corner. I still have things that I have to do from this past one. I know that I'm really behind on it, and I look at those things on a daily basis. So I am working on certain things here, and trying to, excuse me, trying to get some things done here with all of that. So just so that you know, I haven't forgot about you guys. I am working on those things, and they'll be out soon. They'll be out soon. Hopefully, quicker than what I would like for them to be. But anyway, Ripping for the Cure, it is going to happen again next year. Working on a few maybe minor adjustments to make it better for everybody. The one thing I will say is the $50 buy-in most likely will not be changing. I don't want to go any higher than that. And I just appreciate the support that you all have shown this year and last year. And just as a reminder, I did say it on stream with Rippin' Gypsy this year during the big event that if we eclipse $50,000, I will get a Rippin' Gypsy tattoo. So I've been wanting a new tattoo. What better way to get it? Finally, rack of the day. I say this every time I come on video, but I am completely blown away by the support and gratitude that everybody has shown this program. We're almost 10 full months into this, and I'm excited every single day to do this. I don't know who it's going to be. I think the greatest thing that has been happening recently is people are DMing me like the day before or a few days before saying, "Hey, this guy or this person did this, they need to be recognized." And I love it. I absolutely love it, because, that shows that, people are paying attention. People are wanting to give that type of recognition to people. And it's just fantastic to see. So like today, I'll just a little sneak preview. Today's rack of the day. It's already pre-planned. I had somebody DM me last night and just saying, "Hey, look at this." And I said, absolutely. Like, this is what it is. I'm working on 2022 plans for rack of the day right now as well too. I have some things that I want to do that could enhance the program. Um, Maybe adding some people to it. You've seen the term rack ambassadors. I'm trying to come up with a group of people to be like full time rack ambassadors. And, if that's the case, I'll get into that more later. I'm trying to work on like some large once a month racks. I've seen some people throw those ideas out in the past. But again, I'll just leave it with this. Like, if you have thoughts or ideas, um, oh, I, I, I don't know. I got people coming in my room right now that I don't know who they are. Um, and if I do know you, I apologize. Um, anyway, if you ever have questions, comments, I know Jay is always giving with kindness. Jay, oh man, Rudy, Jay is like the coolest person that I've met on Twitter. Like, and I know that's like, ironically, that's like his Twitter handle too. Like what, random acts of coolness or whatnot. Like he's the man. Like I love seeing him send these jerseys out to people. Um, and I like that he's real about it too. Like I love the fact that he sits there and says like, don't just interact with me to get a jersey or to get something given away. Like interact with me because you want to, and that's how I feel too. We've created that community. I think we've created that bond with people, and we know like I've had people with Rack of the Day where I can tell that they are only interacting with me to try to get something, and I ignore them. I don't ignore them. Or I excuse me. He's the top dog. He is the top dog. He sent my son a jersey. He offered me one, and I was like, listen, like I have an Indians jersey. I have a Browns jersey. I don't need a Cavs jersey. I have a Buckeyes jersey. I don't need anything else. My wife knows that I'll never give her a Steelers jersey. So I said, my son needs a jersey. So he sent my son a Browns Baker Mayfield jersey. He won't wear it until he's like 5 or 6 just because of the size. But it was pretty cool of him to do that. And my son was very excited too. So, Jay, thank you. Um, but yeah, like Rack of the Day, like send me questions, send me comments, send me suggestions. I want to grow this program. I haven't said this publicly to people, and I don't know if I want to, but I'm going to anyway. I have an aspirational goal with Rack of the Day that I've been toying with over the last few months to actually make this into a true nonprofit foundation. Rudy, Rudy. So I think Rudy, we live 20 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. She grew up here. She's a diehard Steeler fan. Her entire family are diehard Steeler fans. Um, And so, yeah, I mean, Sundays are interesting in our house in the fall. Um, we have one of those house divided flags outside with the Browns and Steelers helmet on it. But we have fun with it. We really do. Who does she like? I mean, she loved Heath Miller. Like Heath Miller was her favorite player forever. Heinz Ward also. She was now I don't know. Now she doesn't really have a favorite player. Um, she enjoys the game. She really liked. Uh, I love my wife too, but man, yeah, Sundays maybe not so much. Sundays are tough, especially when they don't. I mean, because like I said, we live outside of Pittsburgh, so they don't show the Browns here very often. Um, Now, like she also liked Alejandro Villanueva. She liked him because of his name. Like she loved just saying his name, but she did like him too before he got let go and signed with the Ravens. Um, Now I don't know who she would like now. I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, the whole city loves Juju. Um, I mean, Ben is obvious, but I don't think she has a favorite player. We actually met. Oh my gosh, we met a Steeler at an airport at the Atlanta airport. Um, he wasn't anybody that was crazy good. He got let go after like 6 games, and this was probably 6 years ago that we met him. But we met him, and it was so crazy. I wish I could remember his name, but I can't right now. Um, we were sitting in the airport, and it was in Atlanta. And if you remember, Delta's air computers went down um, nationwide, and there was this guy at our flight, and he looked like an athlete. And then I noticed, like on his hoodie, Juju jersey, I could send her medium. No, Rudy, I appreciate that, but she already has enough jerseys. She doesn't need anyone else, but I do appreciate that. Um, but anyway, he had a number on this hoodie. And I walked up to him and I'm like, "Hey, do you play football?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, I'm a free agent, and I just got the call today um, that the Steelers have signed me, and I'm headed to St. Vincent's for training camp. But obviously, we're in this flight, and like I felt bad for the guy because you could tell that he was doing everything he could um, to get on a flight to get to Pittsburgh because he knew that if he wasn't going to get there on time, he probably wasn't going to have a chance to make the team. And I mean, he was frantically on the phone, and I have some connections. I did at that time. I had some connections with the Steelers, and so I made some phone calls for him too. And thankfully, um, they understood, and he got there the next day. But seeing a pro athlete like that, and again, it wasn't anybody huge. Like he was an undrafted free agent, and he got picked up and was just ready to go. So it was really cool to see. Yeah, Rudy, so St. Vincent. So it's funny. I probably live right smack dab in the middle between St. Vincent's and Heinz Field, as the crow flies. So it's really, I probably live closer to St. Vincent's than I do Heinz Field, but yeah, it's a beautiful area. It was disheartening to see that the Steelers couldn't practice there this year for training camp because the NFL rules and everything for COVID. But it's a gorgeous area, and I tell you what, like outside of Pittsburgh, that's probably the one area that loves the Steelers the most, just because of the history there. So, you know, yeah, you were just up here, and I was gonna reach out to you, but I wasn't around that weekend. You were here for that game, but yeah, if you ever come back up, let me know. I mean, we'll go to Permanis and grab a sandwich and get a beer, or whatever Pittsburgh restaurant you want to go to. It's on me. Pittsburgh's got some good food, so definitely next time you're in the area, let me know. And if my schedule permits, I'd love to come hang out and chat with you. So, all right. Well, hey, I'm gonna end it here. Jimmy Gunn show tomorrow. Ripping for the Cures coming back, and rack of the day suggestions. I'm all for it. Um, so appreciate you coming in. And I need handicapped and family friendly, man. We got you, man. We got you. Got plenty of those. Plenty of those in the area. Some good stuff. So Rudy, you take care of yourself. We'll see each other on the Twitterverse. Thanks for popping in. Everybody else that came in today, thank you. And if you watch this later on, feel free to leave me a comment, reach out to me, suggest. I don't care what you do. But appreciate every single one of you. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.